Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-Wen has now quit as the Democrat Progressive Party's chief after the drubbing that her party got in the local elections. And this has come as the main opposition party, Kuomintang, has managed to win the local elections in a pretty big way. The Taiwanese leader Tsai, dejected after the loss, has said that the election results were simply not as she expected them to be. Now, the Kuomintang has claimed victory in 13 of the 21 cities' mayors and county chief seats, including in the capital city of Taipei. The Democrat Progressive Party's mayor candidate Chen Shih-chung has offered his sincere congratulations to the Kuomintang and has urged people to keep supporting Tsai Ing-Wen. Now, the DPP and the KMT, who strongly deny being pro-Beijing, had in fact concentrated their campaign efforts in the populous northern Taiwan. The Kuomintang has accused Tsai Ing-Wen of being overly confrontationalist with China, and it focused its campaign pretty much on criticizing the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The focus, of course, will now shift to the 2024 presidential and the parliamentary election. Now, Tsai Ing-Wen, remember, was elected by a landslide victory in the year 2020 and had taken a pledge to stand up to China and to defend the autonomy of Taiwan. Now, Tsai's second term in office runs out in 2024, after which she cannot stand again as the president because of the term limits. All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what, of course, is likely to be the fallout of these local elections in Taiwan, we're being joined by Xingxin Liu, who is the Chief Foreign Affairs and Military Correspondent for TVB News in Taipei, and she's joining us live on this broadcast. Now, Liu, this of course is a big development in Taiwanese politics, because what's now happened is, because of the drubbing that Tsai Ing-Wen has received in these local level elections, this will now have a direct impact on the national politics in Taiwan.
Yes, thank you for having me on the program. No doubt, with this landslide victory for KMT and at the same time a huge disappointment for the ruling party, DPP, it is definitely going to shape how the local policies, especially on a national level, is going to change in the near future. But I would say the international audience is very concerned whether this will have a direct impact on Taiwan's foreign and military policy. It is still yet to be seen. During election rallies, we did see how the DPP has been constantly stressing that the international audience is watching this election results very closely, and if results were not in favor of the DPP, how other democracies might actually have second thoughts on Taiwan, thinking that the self-governing population is actually steering towards pro-Beijing. But I have been speaking to both the KMT and DPP politicians tonight, and including other analysts. Actually, I think everyone here held a very different view. We actually did see how the DPP has been trying very hard to play the national security card, playing the democracy card. But look, in essence, the election tonight, the results tonight, is actually very focused on the domestic level. What people are choosing here today are mayors, I would say city councillors, So these are not in real direction or real relations, correlation to how Taiwan might actually work on, let's say, interfere in Beijing in the near future.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Liu. Now, the question that I want to ask you is this, because these are local level elections where people, one presumes, would have voted on local issues. And this is what the opposition led by Kuomintang did during its campaigning. It focused essentially on Tsai Ing-Wen's performance in cracking down on the COVID-19 infections. But Tsai Ing-Wen's party takes a lot of pride in the fact that it stands up very firmly against China. Do you think people in Taiwan will vote differently when it comes to the presidential election that will take place in 2 years' time from now?
Yes, I would say that because, it is also seen as a midterm report card for President Tsai and her ruling party. And being the party that's incumbent, it is actually quite natural. Analysts have been saying that, people will be very strict on how they will actually rate her performance over the past 2 years. I would say yes, no doubt, the DPP has actually did very well in its COVID policies, especially in the early stages, like immediately closing its borders, ensuring that people in Taiwan are safe, but this actually took on a very different tone, somewhere towards just before how the borders are starting to open. There were a couple of hiccups in the policy, and that led to a lot of unhappiness in the population, and that is actually reflected in the election results tonight. But as to how the DPP will try to work in the 2024 election, they have actually a lot of soul searching to do, and no doubt the National Security Court or the issue on how to protect Taiwan on any possible invasion or any possible strong rhetoric coming from the PRC in that sense. This is still yet. I think the DPP might need to come up with a new rhetoric, come up with a new idea that will eventually convince the population that they are the party that is supposed to be chosen in the next 2 years.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much, indeed, Ching Liu, for joining us and getting us all those insights there.
Thank you for having me.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.